Hi everybody, I'm back with another review of Girl Meets World. This time I'm going to be reviewing episodes 5 through 7, and I know that the last episode aired over a couple weeks ago, and I apologize for this coming so late. I've been really busy with work. These 3 episodes are packed with references to the original show Boy Meets World, which actually culminates in the return of a character from the show.
Minkus! Was it achieved by Minkus? Does it go to Minkus? Minkus, right?
Minkus. But let's begin. As usual, I'll do the episode by episode review, discuss things I liked, didn't like, things I look forward to, so on and so forth. First one, episode 5, Girl Meets the Truth. This one I would say is the least amount of references to Boy Meets World, but is a really good episode for, moral of the story kind of thing. At the beginning of the episode, Riley tells Farkle that he's a good actor, even though he isn't. So she lies to him because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings. But at the same time, she keeps accusing Maya of stealing a locket. The plot of the episode kind of has Riley realize that you have to tell the truth, but you have to do it in a nice way. You can't be really mean, and you don't want to lie to someone either. By the end of the episode, Riley finally tells Farkle that he's not that good of an actor, but he thanks her for lying to him because, he didn't want to get hurt. That makes Maya realize that maybe Riley is right. She did take the locket, it wasn't actually hers, so she decides to return it to where she found it, which was lost and found in the subway. And they end up finding the family that owned it there because their picture was inside the locket. And they return it to the little girl who owned it. And that poster, Feeney, is still in the subway, and I want to know why it's there. Feeney is not in New York, I don't. And at the same time, since the episode has 2 overarching plots, the other one revolves around Cory and Topanga and also telling the truth. This half reminds me of an episode from Boy Meets World, the honesty episode, where Cory and Topanga decide to have an honesty pact where they will tell each other the truth about everything, and of course Cory goes kind of overboard with it, ends up being really rude. By the end of the episode, Cory kind of realizes he hasn't been very good and kind of fixes it. Well, in this episode of Girl Meets World, it's basically the same thing. You'd think after 14 years Cory would learn, but at the beginning of the episode, they're doing the play Romeo and Juliet, and Farkle is just a spear carrier. In Boy Meets World Season 1, they did Hamlet, and Cory was a spear carrier. We do get to discover a little bit more about Maya's backstory, like usual. As found out in the previous episode, Maya's father left her and her mother, and in this episode, we find out that he never sends her anything. He basically just is gone from her life entirely. So Maya really has no father figure other than, I guess, Cory. So it's nice that we keep getting a little bit more about Maya's backstory every episode. I'm glad it's kind of like a build-up throughout the season and not just like, here's an episode about Maya's backstory, let's not touch on it again. We build it up. I can see it's going to be there a lot throughout the show's run. Okay, episode 6, Girl Meets Popular. This episode I found had a lot of similarities with an episode in Boy Meets World. Basically the plot is Riley gets invited to a party that Maya doesn't get invited to, only to find out that it's actually a geek party. And so Riley decides to change her entire personality to fit in with the geeks and be popular amongst them and not be herself. As the episode progresses, Maya and Cory eventually get to her, teach her that you have to be yourself, you can't be someone you're not just to please others. However, it is a very large callback to an episode of Boy Meets World in Season 2, when Cory gets invited to a party and Sean doesn't, only to find out it's a geek party. There's a second plot line in the episode, and that is one revolving around Topanga. We finally get a Topanga-centered episode. We get a lot of Topanga in this episode, which is great. I've been waiting to see more Topanga. But the basic plot is Augie goes to this one Ukrainian restaurant, only it's being bought out because they can't afford to pay the rent. So Topanga is a lawyer working against them. She ends up actually deciding not to work against them and co-owning the Ukrainian restaurant by the end of the episode. Through this, we get to see really the old Topanga from like Season 1 Boy Meets World. We get to see that shine out in this episode. She still has those morals, the beliefs that she held way back then. In a scene where Topanga's looking in the mirror and her reflection changes back into Topanga from Season 1 of Boy Meets World, and she's talking to her Boy Meets World Season 1 self. Not only does it culminate at that point, they actually show a clip from Season 1 of Boy Meets World which kind of look weird because they tried to make it, you know, widescreen and HD, which it obviously wasn't back then. So it didn't look pristine like the rest of the episode, but what can you do, right? But I thought it was a brilliant shout out to Boy Meets World, actually just showing the clip to say, for the kids today, they might not know that Girl Meets World is a spin-off from Boy Meets World, right? Showing that clip, and you can clearly tell that it's still Ben Savage and Daniel Fisher playing themselves, younger, will make kids go, there's another show. If they like Girl Meets World, maybe they'll watch Boy Meets World too. And I'm just saying, you know, ABC there, get some DVD sales up, huh? The John Quincy Adams Middle School is doing a spelling bee against another school, and the opponent team that they are playing is Einstein Academy, which is the name of the high school that Corey, Sean, and Topanga played that game show against. Can't remember the name of it. It was like a season 4 or 5 episode. By far, I think the biggest reference is Topanga's boss is the lawyer is played by Willie Garson, who played various roles in Boy Meets World, most notably
Mrs. Matthews, Leonard Spinelli. I'm Mr. Matthews' assistant manager. Mr. Matthews, Leonard Spinelli, I work for your father. Miss Matthews, Leonard Spinelli, I work for your father.
Lenny, we've been through this.
So I think it's nice that they're bringing back an alumni, and it just happens to be a guy who played multiple roles, and once again he's playing a different role. Finally, the 7th episode, Girl Meets Maya's Mother. This is by far, in my opinion, the best episode next to the pilot. There's a career day at school and all the parents come in to tell their kids about what's going on. Maya's mother doesn't show up. Riley's pushing her mom to be in Maya's life, and eventually Maya's mother, Katie Hart, shows up the next day and kind of just really embarrasses Maya. I mean, she says she's not embarrassed, but you can tell. And of course, Riley keeps pushing to get Katie to go to an art gallery that Maya's art is being presented in. And of course, she fails to show up. The mother-daughter relationship where the mother isn't there for the daughter, and it really affects the kid. I think that's a great story to use, because you find a lot of kids today, their parents aren't a couple anymore, so they only have like one parent, or, you know, they had their kid when they were a teenager and their life isn't that great. They work at like a convenience store or something, right? It's not like they have a career, and a lot of kids suffer because of that. So I think it's really nice that we get Maya's backstory is really the prominent part of this episode, and I think it's really great that it's calling out to those type of kids that are in that situation, so they know they're not the only ones out there feeling this way. Maya's really good at art, but she doesn't like to show it off to anyone. She does it for herself, which is very similar to, once again, Sean, who was really good at poetry, didn't like to show it off to anyone else. In this episode, Riley entered Maya in an art gallery without telling her, just like Corey entered Sean into a poetry reading without telling. One thing I really noticed was Katie Hart is a lot like Chet Hunter, except with a southern accent. I mean, she comes in, does this big spiel, telling this grandiose story, just like Chet Hunter did in the very first episode you see him. He comes in during career day and tells this great big fake story. The similarities between Maya and Sean are ridiculous. I mean, I like that in Boy Meets World it worked, but it doesn't have to be a carbon copy in Girl Meets World. Of course, the biggest, by far, of the entire series, shout out to Boy Meets World, is the return of Minkus, who just happens to be Farkle's father. When Minkus enters the room, the audience lets out the biggest scream.
Minkus!
Topanga!
Stuart.
Topanga!
And he just kind of, he strolls in, strutting in like, hey, I've got a helicopter. I'm awesome. And you're not, Corey. And of course, he and Topanga still have this rivalry going on where they're trying to one-up each other, and their kids are getting involved, and it's hilarious.
Sorry I'm late, everybody. I had helicopter problems. Because I have a helicopter. Do you have a helicopter, Corey?
Nope. Do you have a Topanga, Minkus?
Nope, because she chose you. I run Minkus International, I have a helicopter, and she chose you.
Stuart, please. Aren't we a little too evolved to still be competing with each other?
Of course.
Of course.
Go.
Between the two of us, Riley and I have 1,260 A's.
Well, that's remarkable, Topanga. Between the two of us, Farkle and I have 1,261.
I had to, Topanga. He's a lot smarter than I am.
What got me though was Minkus walks in and goes, Farkle, and Farkle goes, father, and then Lucas is sitting there and he's like, wait, your name's Farkle Minkus?
Father.
Farkle?
Wait a minute.
Yes?
He's your father?
Look at us.
Your name is Farkle Minkus.
Don't wear it out.
I don't know how you could.
And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, you've been friends with Farkle for like a month. How do you not know his last name yet? Or has every episode of Girl Meets World happened in like 1 week? Seriously? How do you not know his last name? If you have 3 friends, how do you not know your 3 friends' last names? And then finally, during the credit scene, the end credit scene, we see the Matthews having dinner with the Minkuses, the Minkai, as Maya said, and they're sitting there, and earlier on, you know, Minkus had won up Topanga by having 1 more A total between him and his son and her daughter. And Corey goes, I'm gonna give Riley an A for being a great friend. And then the look on Minkus's face is just, you can't do that. Can you do that? And then Corey's just like, I does whatever she wants. It felt so much like season 1, just Corey and Minkus. Once again, I've noticed a lot of similarities between Riley and Corey. In this episode in particular, Riley's pushing Maya to be more than what she is, which is a lot like what Corey did with Sean. Girl Meets World continues to be an amazing show, guys. If you don't watch it, get out there, start watching it. Only 7 episodes in, half-hour program, doesn't take long to catch up. If you do watch it, I'd like to know what you guys think too. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. And remember to tell everyone about Girl Meets World. Get them into it. Get them watching it. It's a great show for kids. A lot of morals, a lot of lessons. It doesn't ruin Boy Meets World at all. If you're afraid of that, don't be. You should check it out because it honors Boy Meets World. It doesn't ruin it. I really look forward to seeing future Boy Meets World alumni. I can confirm that neither Eric nor Feeney will be appearing throughout the first season, other than Feeney's cameo. However, we will be getting to see Sean in a couple episodes at least, and I'm really hoping they make him like a recurring character in like the 2nd season. I really think that we need the Corey-Sean dynamic back. Yeah, I miss it. I think everybody does. It's great to see Corey and Topanga, but you can't beat the greatest friendship of all time, Corey and Sean. Like my video, share it, tell all your friends about Girl Meets World, and I'll see you guys again next time.